Hey everybody, welcome and thanks for joining with us. We recognize that in the middle of all this craziness with the COVID-19 stuff, that we are all trying to figure out as families how to educate our kids, how to connect with them at home, and there's probably a lot of stress in your home. I know there's some stress in mine. So wanted to offer you as a ministry just 5 tips on how to not just survive and endure this time, but how to thrive as families. So just to kind of start things off, I want to introduce ourselves. My name's John. I'm one of the pastors here at First Bible. I am a dad of 4. My wife and I have 4 beautiful kids. I started off teaching, actually, spent about 4 or 5 years as a teacher. We've homeschooled our kids for a portion of their lives, and they're currently enrolled in a private school. So I've got a little bit of that, got some background in those things. So.
And I am Janelle Young. I'm the Children's Ministry Director here, and I too actually taught in the public school system for about 6 years. I taught elementary special ed, and I have my master's in literacy. I too actually had the blessing of being able to homeschool my kids for quite some time, and then my kids are in public school, and I got to substitute in the Spencerport School District.
All right. So full disclosure, Janelle is far more equipped and ready to dive into this stuff than me as far as her background is concerned. But anyway, so 5 tips. All right, we'll jump right in. Number 1 is pray. Spend time in prayer as a family. Spend time in prayer with your kids.
John, I mean, honestly, prayer is obviously the most important thing ever. I mean, when we talk about the family that prays together stays together. And I know we all get busy when we're praying here or there, but listen, having your children pray with you. And listen, we both have our parental concerns that we're praying about that we don't want our children to hear, but encouraging your kids to know what prayer is, that silent prayer, that communication between them and God is so important. So I would encourage you to have that, the out loud prayer time, but encouraging them also to have that individual quiet time with God is so important. So let's talk about number 2. Number 2, listen, you do not have to be an animaniac, but I do need you to make learning fun. Because listen, I actually even heard the words this morning, I am so bored. It happens.
Yeah.
And listen, for the most part, a lot of the things that are being provided to me through the public school system are on their laptop. And as much as sometimes screen time is fun, but it also can get monotonous for what they need to do. But listen, there's also fun things you can do. I actually went to the Seattle Zoo this morning. We're going to provide you with a list of different resources that you can use to both go on virtual field trips or even just providing extra work in regards to different subject areas. Listen, and if you know a homeschooled family, listen, they're a ginormous resource for you right now, as they've been there, done that, well, every single day of their life. So maybe just touching base with them, you guys are going to find the right niche for you. But again, just trying to make this to be an experience where they want to do their work.
Yeah, I've heard a couple times recently from my kids, they'll do that like cartoon sliding off the couch. They're like, I'm bored, and they do that. So just trying to be creative and make things fun. Again, Google's your friend. There's a lot of great ideas out there. Kind of connected with that idea, number 3, don't stress if your kids can't sit still. So the reality is that God did not design every child to sit and stare at a wall or a blackboard or a screen for 8 hours in the day. So for some kids, the way that they learn best, and you're going to find this maybe in your house, is that they're going to learn best hanging upside down while they're doing their mathematics, their multiplication tables. So just because they don't seem to sit and do this doesn't mean that they're not learning, and it also doesn't mean that their brain is not engaged.
And I would say as a special ed teacher, I mean, making those modifications for your kids are of the utmost importance. I mean, honestly, break it into bits and pieces. Each family is going to have their own schedule, routine, but listen, it's about letting them do their wiggles. I mean, some kids are bouncing on balls as they're actually doing their work. They're maintaining what they're doing. But everybody learns differently. So don't expect the same out of each one of your children.
Absolutely.
So that leads us to number 4. Set your own pace. It's not a time to keep up with the Joneses, but you do, and don't feel guilty about you see everybody posting on Facebook, oh, look at my children. They're all sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Angels.
Halos over their head.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not true. I want you to know that what you're doing is right for your kids. Now, listen, again, you don't have to be a teacher because you're a mom, you're a dad, and you're going to provide what your child needs. So you're going to see what works for them and just continue to provide them that foundation is going to be the most important thing because they're your kids and you know them. So you guys have got this.
Yeah, that's huge, especially with everything online as it is now. We recognize you're looking at other families. What are they doing? Somebody takes a picture and their kid has, their orange juice next to them and their cereal and it all looks nice and their books out and all that. Don't be swayed by that into thinking that you have to keep up with that perception. Like Janelle said, do what works for your family. Don't feel like you have to keep up with other people that appear as though things are really clicking along, because the reality is it's not clicking along for any of us, and that is okay. So number 5, establish a routine. It is difficult, especially because there's almost like no routine naturally given to us right now. It's just crazy everywhere, right? So establishing a routine, and the challenge is that I think kids especially seem to resist like somebody trying to establish a routine, but they're going to respond better once that routine is actually lived out. So for example, my kids got up this morning and I saw them doing their schoolwork in their bed, and I was like, no, get out of bed, go find some place to actually sit down and do your work like you would be doing it as if you were in school. So having some sort of a routine where they get up at a certain time and kind of go through from there.
We all thrive with structure. We do. And your child will also thrive with structure. We're going to actually post a sample schedule. Listen, make your own schedule, but I would encourage you to try to keep to it. So such as with my kids, so we have our morning, but then we have a certain time where, hey, from this to this, we are doing our academics. Then you can have your breaks. You're welcome to take your breaks in between. But then we'll have our lunch, we'll have some activity in the afternoon. But then did we get everything done? So there's some academic time in the afternoon. But listen, it's all about what works for you and your student. But I would encourage you to try to find your schedule. Try to find that routine. They want to defy it, but they actually love it. They really do.
Absolutely. So hopefully you found those 5 to be an encouragement and a help to you at least a little bit. I want to offer a bonus. So please make sure, you got to make sure we do this in my home. Janelle's doing it in her home. Make sure that you have proper safeguards in place, filters to guard your students, your kids from accessing or being able to access certain things online. Of course, everything is online right now. This is online right now. And with that free access, sometimes unsupervised, comes opportunity for them to come across things that they don't need to see. And bear in mind, the evil that's behind all that wants to be found.
Yep.
So it's not like it's hiding, it's trying to get into your home, it's trying to get into my home, and we need to make sure that we do our due diligence to protect our kids.
Absolutely, John. I mean, because obviously we only get one chance at this parenting, and what's the song? Be careful, little eyes, what you see. So I would encourage you to make sure, look into, if you don't have filters, ask a friend what sorts of filters they have on their internet just to protect them. So this is just a mom and a dad taking the time to share with you those tips on how to thrive during this time at home.